The iPod Classic 5.5 generation was released back in 2006. It was released at the height of the iPod era and showed off to users what the iPod ultimately is. With a brighter screen, a search feature, and longer video playback time, this was literally the best iPod Classic ever made. And why is it the best iPod Classic ever made? You'll have to stick around to see why. Hey guys, I'm Ethan from Alumni Tech 47, and today we are going to be looking at how cool this iPod is, as well as seeing if I can still adequately use it almost 15 years later. Before we get started, make sure you go follow me on Instagram and Twitter at AlumniTech47. Links are always provided below so that you can probably click them. The iPod Classic is also known as the 5th Gen Enhanced, as it made a few improvements from the last 5th Gen iPod video. Like I've said, it added a brighter screen, longer video playback time, as well as a search function. But why didn't Apple wait to improve that on the 6th Gen? I don't know, but I'm glad they made the improvements here. Other than the improvements, you have the same plastic front as well as the iconic mirror-like metallic back. You have the 30-pin dock, headphone jack, as well as the lock switch so that it doesn't click anything in the pocket. The click wheel stayed the same with the 5 buttons, as well as the ability to touch scroll the volume. On the inside, you have the battery with a 580 mAh capacity, but just a small battery gives you up to 6.5 hours of video playback and 14 hours of music playback on the model you see here. You have the 30GB and 80GB models that Apple sold at the time. Now this whole video isn't just going to be about the specs of the iPod Classic 5th generation, we're also going to talk about the usability of this iPod. And first of all, this iPod is very customizable. In fact, this iPod is the most customizable iPod Classic ever sold. You can swap the storage in for an SSD since the iPod shipped with hard drives. This makes the iPod run faster with retrieving files as well as preserving the storage life since hard drives only last about 10 years. And if you upgrade the storage at all, some sellers can ship custom shells to you with not only the updated storage capacity, but the serial number with the current iPod as well. You can also get custom front panels with different colors as well as different click wheels. You can even add components like a Bluetooth module, which a YouTuber DankPods did on his channel. There are a lot of people in the world that still use an iPod Classic as their primary way of listening to music, and that's mainly because of how nostalgic the iPods have become. It's not because they are popular or that they are super seamless, but they are still usable. If you have a downloaded music library from your CDs or just some cool royalty-free music, you can still sync it to your Mac or PC with Finder or iTunes if you're on a PC. But when you go and listen to your music, you should be okay with using some old-fashioned wired headphones, and most people are still good with that. I have fallen in love with my wireless headphones and my AirPods, so I would be okay with listening to music in the car or using a bulky Bluetooth transmitter with this iPod. And if you are that kind of person that likes to turn the volume up or down a notch or two while listening to your music, then you'll have to use an iPod Touch that has button keys for adjusting the volume on your music. And that is why I use my iPod Touch 5th generation for music. And that is another reason why I would just use this iPod for the car. But for most other people, this iPod is a great device to use for their music if they just want something separate from their phone. And the reason why people would want to do that is that their phone usually has a whole bunch of distractions and pop-up notifications that will interrupt their music. So having an iPod or a separate device for music is great to have as an option. And again, that is why this iPod Classic is an excellent option for music. But this iPod Classic can also do podcasts, photos, clocks, various games like Brick, Music Quiz, Parachute, and Solitaire, contacts, calendar, notes, stopwatch, and watching movies. Now my iPod will not work for some reason with syncing movies, and that is because my Mac and iPod think that the MP4 format won't work for this iPod, which it does, but I don't know why it won't sync. But anyway, another nice thing that this iPod can do is shuffling music. Now if you have upgraded your storage past 200GB, and you have 200GB of music on this iPod, the shuffle feature may not work as there would be too many songs to shuffle. So the question still remains, could you still use this iPod Classic 5th Gen from almost 15 years ago? Yes, you absolutely can, and I think you can still use it for the next 15 years as well. It has held up really well, and parts for this iPod are still very cheap and easy to come by. If you're thinking about buying a separate music player for any reason, I think the iPod Classic 5th Gen is an excellent option to go for. It's basically everything that you might need for listening to downloaded music on the go, and they sell for a reasonable price starting at just $40 on eBay. And I think I am done here talking about the iPod Classic 5th generation. If you like this video, make sure that you subscribe for more videos. If you subscribe, turn on the bell icon so you don't miss a single video. Also make sure to leave a like and comment on your favorite iPod that you've used or are using right now. If you're interested, which I think you are, make sure you go follow me on Instagram and Twitter at AlumniTech47. Again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.